There is a general agreement among professionals in the financial sector that Mr. Warren Buffett, who is also referred to as the Oracle of Omaha, is the most successful investor in the annals of the history of the financial sector. Therefore, let's talk about everything that Warren Buffett has been buying and selling in the third quarter of 2022, and as a result of this, what he is thinking about the markets right now. Let's also discuss what he has been doing in the markets. Let's also discuss what he has been saying about the economy and the stock market. What are the most important takeaways and pieces of information that we need to be aware of in light of the developments that have taken place over the course of this quarter? Buffett is the one who suggested that we should focus on the top 10 to 15 holdings because after that point, changes become much less significant. This was due to the fact that after that point, we should be more concerned with the top 10 to 15 holdings. If you dig deeper, there is a better chance that Ted or Todd is the mastermind behind the movement. As a consequence of this, when we narrow our focus to those top 15 holdings, we will find that there are two primary topics that we can discuss with one another. The newly created significant position at Taiwan Semiconductor TSM immediately moved the company's portfolio position up to the 10th largest position, making it the new position. As a result, within the span of just one quarter, Buffett was able to acquire approximately 60 million ADRs with a total value of approximately $4 billion. The fact that the stock price of TSMC has increased by 7.9% as a direct result of this piece of news demonstrates that the Buffett effect is undeniably at work at his organization. Having said that, what exactly does purchasing this item entail? Well, it means that first and foremost, Buffett is placing a significant wager on the production of semiconductors. And it also means that he is unafraid to make significant investments in large businesses that are based in Taiwan. In other words, it means that Buffett is placing a significant bet on the production of semiconductors. To get things started, then could you please explain what exactly TSMC, which stands for Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, refers to? To put it succinctly, Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company is the most significant player in the semiconductor manufacturing industry. According to the most recent findings from research conducted by TrendForce, it is believed that they control somewhere in the neighborhood of 56% of the revenue generated by foundries all over the world. They are the ones who are able to secure large contracts with major corporations such as Apple, AMD, Intel, Qualcomm, Sony, and Nvidia. And they are the ones who are responsible for producing the goods that these companies require. Apple, AMD, Intel, Qualcomm, Sony, and Nvidia are just some of the companies that they are able to secure large contracts with. So, what is it that Buffett is trying to argue in this piece? This is a wager on the long-term outcome that there will be a rise in the production of semiconductors over the course of time and that, as a consequence, there will be an increase in the profitability of businesses. Buffett is simply taking advantage of the short-term uncertainty in the market to get into the market. As a result of the fact that there is a lot of moving and shaking right now as a result of big-name brands reducing their order volume and semiconductor businesses slashing their profit forecast. As a consequence of this development, there has been a rise in the amount of volatility that can be observed in stock prices. Therefore, it can be understood that Warren Buffett is essentially stating that brands and products may come and go. But over time, there will be an increasing demand for semiconductors, and he wants to get in on that trend at a reasonable price. This can be understood because Buffett has stated that he believes there will be an increasing demand for semiconductors. As a direct consequence of this, he decides to acquire TSMC, the most successful semiconductor manufacturer in the entire world. It will be analogous to investing not in the pizza shop itself, but rather in the company that makes the pizza boxes. You are probably aware that over the course of time, pizza restaurants may open and close, but despite this, people will still eat pizza. In addition, each individual pizza must have its own box. From that vantage point, one of the questions that could be asked is why Buffett is investing money in Taiwanese companies. This is one of the questions that could be asked. In this particular instance, the response is one that can be comprehended in a manner that is relatively straightforward. TSMC, or Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, despite the fact that there may be a great deal of geopolitical tension between China and Taiwan right now, will not in any way experience a significant decline in its capabilities as a result of this. And the reason for this is because, as you're probably already aware, the government of the United States plans to make significant investments in domestically produced ships in order to become the preeminent global player in space. The reason for this is that domestically produced ships are more likely to be reliable than foreign-made ones. Suddenly, TSMC becomes a very important partner for China in order for China to be able to keep up with the rest of the world. This is necessary for China to be able to compete effectively. Despite a significant deterioration in relations between China and Taiwan, so is confident that Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company will continue to be successful. They are a very important player in the overall electronic industry as a whole. This is without a doubt the very first important takeaway that one can obtain from Buffett's 13F. And then from there, the second major piece of news that is immediately noticeable is that Buffett is continuing to buy these major oil companies, as you already know. This is the immediately noticeable part of the news. In the previous quarter, he increased his stake in Chevron by 1.4 and his stake in Occidental by 16, and he has continued to buy more in the current quarter, putting an additional 2.4 points into Chevron and an enormous 22.58 points into its Oxy position. It is interesting to note that this is now the 5th consecutive quarter in which he has added to Chevron, and it is the 3rd consecutive quarter in which he has purchased Oxy. This makes the total number of quarters in which he has added to Chevron 10, and with regards to Oxy, he now owns more than 20% of the business. This is in spite of the fact that shares in both companies have continued to increase in value throughout the course of the quarter. Therefore, Buffett has no reservations about expanding his holdings in oil companies, and he does not believe that his earlier analysis has been rendered meaningless as a result of recent events. He said that the success or failure of an investment in a major oil production company would depend largely on the price of oil at the time of the investment. Nothing even remotely comparable to geological home runs, super mistakes, or anything else of the sort is going to happen here. It is an investment whose profitability is directly tied to the price at which oil is transacted. As a consequence of this, the price of oil serves as the primary indicator for these stocks. However, he also stated in 2007 that if we were in an oil stock, it would be because we believe it offers a lot of value at this price. However, this does not mean that we believe the price of oil will continue to rise. It was always an option for us to purchase oil futures if we thought the price of oil was going to go up, and in fact, that was something that we did at one point in time. Therefore, in order for Buffett to justify his investments in oil companies, it is essential that these companies be of high quality and sell their products at reasonable prices. In addition to that, he is making wagers on the direction of the price of oil. This is, in fact, very well aligned with what he has said about Oxy in the most recent statements. So it makes sense that he would say something like this. Take the transcript of Oxygen Partners' earnings call for the first quarter as an illustration. Buffett stated, "I read every word and said this is exactly what I would be doing." Buffett was referring to his own future actions. "She is running the company the right way," someone said, referring to Vicky Holub, who is the company's chief executive officer. Both Chevron and Oxy have robust plans to increase the amount of money returned to shareholders through the use of dividend payments and stock repurchases. And Buffett believes that buying in at a reasonable price would be more beneficial for him than simply keeping that money in cash if he can make the purchase at a reasonable price. Therefore, since Buffett anticipates healthy returns in high-quality businesses in the years to come, he is content to enter into that transaction. This is due to the fact that Buffett has high-quality businesses. However, as the share prices of these companies continue to rise, it will be fascinating to observe the point at which Warren Buffett decides he is no longer interested in purchasing additional shares. This decision is likely to come at some point in the future as the share prices of these companies continue to rise. What are your thoughts on the new investment that Warren Buffett has made? What are your reactions to the information that was presented in this video? Please share your thoughts in the comment section down below. Many thanks, and please stay tuned for further updates.